sked, we did 8.4.
Yeah.
And the two others, outside of Scally and Axo, did 5.5 and 7. Yeah, a good gain on them. So they are now in the 280s, bearing, so north of us. So yeah, 5, 6.
So the next one might be
a lot better. Being up here, we should get more breeze.
That's a nice start to the day.
Happy faces on board Turn the Tide on Plastic, and for good reason. Welcome to race headquarters here in Alicante. I've got Sam Matson, race expert, joining me here because there's an awful lot to get through. First of all, let's just hit it with a big story. Turn the Tide on Plastic in the lead, but is that where the story ends? Is that all there is to say?
They're closer to the finish, what can I say? That's what puts them on the top of the leaderboard at the moment, being closer towards the finish line.
Now, I can tell a little bit of the tone in your voice because it's always a little bit more complicated than that here. The race experts always chastise us for just giving you the simplistic view. So who should Turn the Tide on Plastic be worried about?
I mean, it's not a secure lead by any means. The guys out in the west, so you've got ExxonMobil and Songhongkai Scallywag, they've got a good line in as well. They're at a similar kind of latitude there, and they're going to be driving down at a similar speed to Turn the Tide.
Because the breeze, it's fairly safe to say, I mean, that's stabilised, but coming up ahead, we've got a little bit of interesting geography, haven't we?
Reefs everywhere, effectively. So New Caledonia's got a big reef, and that's what the Navigator's got to split round right now as we speak. And that's what they've got to be looking out for.
And it's going to be tough as well. In fact, actually, just before we came on air, Brian Thompson, the Navigator at Turn the Tide on Plastic, gave us this thought.
It probably used to be land, it's been eroded away, and now it's just a coral reef. And there's a couple of passages through it, one 90 miles away from the tip of land and another 150 miles. So 4 of the boats are going through the inner passage and 2 are going to go around the outside passage by the look of this sked. So an interesting split ensuing.
Offshore sailing legend Brian Thompson, the Navigator on Turn the Tide on Plastic. So a split, this reef causing a little bit of a split, but it's fairly safe to say that the sailors, they've known that this is coming, something they prepared for.
Yeah, I mean, they don't appear out of the blue. The weather routings are going to be predicting their route the whole time, and it's the Navigator's job to be scrolling through that route and checking navigationally that it's safe, and for sure they'll be flagging up any reefs that are along the route.
And we've got to say, I mean, leg 4, it would have sharpened them up. A little bit of an incident with Songhongkai Scallywag.
Yeah, I mean, that was a classic example of leaving the decision a little bit too late there. And big losses in miles, the Navigators do not want that. So making the decisions nice and early, minimising your losses and getting around the reef safely. And
we're getting around the reef safely. So Songhongkai Scallywag managed to actually go on to win that leg. So anything could happen here. And that's really what I brought you up here to talk a little bit about what's happening ahead. But before I get you to weigh in, I mean, well, Jules Salter, Navigator on Team Axon-Nobel, he has a pretty simplistic view as to what's going to pay.
So whoever escapes this area of light winds first and gets the sail winds should just get into Auckland first, I would imagine. It'll just be a bit of a soldier's course. And first out will be first into Auckland because the last bit's, in theory, relatively straightforward. But
well, that's the winning move according to Team Axon-Nobel. Sam, I'm sure you're going to have a lot to say about that. But before we do that, let's take a look at where we are now. Let's bring ourselves up to date with the tracker and see how the fleet are racing. This is leg 6. We're on the way to Auckland, and the front 4 have been really stuck together now. Turn the Tide on Plastic, they have had the better of the runs, and they've been holding back Team Brunel and Bauer Becking, who are unable to make a dent, but they need to be worried. Songhongkai Scallywag and Axon-Nobel out to the west do cause a threat as Mafre and Dongfeng race team, well, they're just duking it out in last place. But Sam, let's take it forward, wind the clock forward, let's project, see what's going to happen.
So the game plan's pretty simple. The boats need to get as far south as possible, hook into the low pressure system here that you see moving across the screen, and just in front of that cold front. That's going to see the breeze back and provide some pretty quick reaching into downwind conditions to finish in Auckland.
But before they do all that, of course, as we've just mentioned, the little bit of a problem that they have is the reef just to the north of New Caledonia. That was a question that I asked Bianca Kirk. Are you worried? Is there anything to be nervous about?
No. No, not at all. The waters around New Caledonia are very well charted, and we've got some really good navigators on board and absolute faith in them, and not nervous about going around reefs at all during the dark. I've done quite a bit of that in my time of sailing, and I think we'll be great. Be nice to see them during the day, beautiful blue ocean, but, we'll be fine.
So not nervous about the reefs. Are you nervous about any of your competitors, or at this point it sort of feels like the work's done?
No, not at all. There's still a lot of work ahead. You know, we as a team just need to kind of keep pushing hard, and you know, we are nervous about the guys that are further to the west. If they come into that breeze earlier, then we will be trying to play catch up. And of course, we're nervous about the guys behind us as well. You know, they could really come into some pressure and start cutting down the miles between us. But at this stage, you know, we want to try and keep the miles growing between us with the guys behind, and hopefully we can catch up to the guys that are just to west of us.
And any surprise at all to see Mafre and Dongfeng at the back? I mean, were you surprised at the outcome of this?
Well, yes, actually. Earlier on in the leg, we had a really light patch where we actually managed to catch up to Brunel, Dongfeng and Mafre. And we rolled Dongfeng and Mafre, and they all went out to the west, and we were within 50 metres of Mafre, and you could see that they were pretty nervous. But we thought that the split early on, it looks like it seemed to be in their favour, but looking back at it now, it's definitely worked in our favour, and it's a bit of a surprise, but it's really nice to be in the position that we're in. We just had the last position report and found out that we just gained a few more miles on Brunel and on Mafre and Dongfeng behind us. We also are closing the gauge a little bit with AkzoNobel and Scallywag, so it's a pretty nice position to be in right now.
It's a great position to be in, but like you say, there are a few boats out to the west. What's your plan to really solidify this moment?
So the plan is, at this stage, we're less than 100 miles to New Caledonia, and we'll be going through the channel, and once we get to the channel, there'll be a little bit of acceleration and then a little bit of a light patch. I think what I'm told is that basically once we get through that light patch, the first boat that gets into that breeze will be looking like a winner. So we're aiming to keep sailing the way that we're sailing, and keep sailing fast, and hopefully we'll be the first ones to that breeze.
Obviously, over the last sort of few days, you've been waking up to some rather nice position reports. What's that moment like when they're read out?
It's a pretty good feeling on board. Every time we make gains on the boats behind us, everyone's pretty happy. And we had a couple of position reports earlier on where we weren't doing so well. We were in some pretty light breeze, but in the last watch, there's been a few more sheep in the paddock. So we always get nervous, especially when we've gone through 6 hours of really light breeze. You always kind of know that if you've had a light breeze, that it's going to be not so good. But when we're doing well and we've got the breeze at around 10, 11 knots, we kind of have a fair idea that there's going to be some miles made. So yeah, it's good vibes on board. Everyone's pretty happy with how we're doing so far. And you know, at the start of this race, at the start of this leg, we said that we wanted to make this our leg, and hopefully we do.
And what about the ETA for you guys into Auckland? How much of this leg is still left to run in your eyes?
So ETA into Auckland for us at this stage is looking like the 27th, arriving on the Monday into Auckland, and hopefully during daylight. That would be nice.
Well, we wish you the best of luck. We'll keep an eye on you. Thanks very much for talking to us.
Awesome, cool. Thank you so much for talking. See you soon.
Bianca Cook on board Turn the Tide on Plastic, very happy about the ETA that she's been given by their navigator. Now, Sam, you know, Bianca, this is somebody that if you're trying to plot the course as to how you get on the Volvo Ocean Race, she's walked a slightly unusual line, 70,000 offshore miles granted, but not a lot of big name races that she's completed. But should we be surprised? Turn the Tide on Plastic, it's kind of, as a team, it's built that way.
Yeah, I mean, Dee was effectively trying to pick people from all walks of life. You know, whether you've got people like Bianca who've just done thousands and thousands of miles, or you've got the AC guys, Bled and Mon, Olympic guys like Francesca, and of course the Figaro guys, Henry Bombi and Nico Lundgren on board. It's a real mix of sailors on board.
A youth team, and they basically gave themselves a bit of an uphill battle, didn't they? I mean, they could have made it easier.
I mean, they came late to the game, but they also want to make a statement. They want to prove that it is possible to do it with young sailors, be out there under 30, and still, you know, competing with the big guys.
And competing and bettering them, because as we've been saying all the way through this show, Turn the Tide on Plastic are in the lead. Yes, they still have some work to do. Yes, they're going to have to work hard. But if you've been watching any of the feeds off the boats, you will know that the mood on board is one absolutely of belief. And whenever we've connected live with Dee Kafar and we've said to her, wow, this is great, you know, you're up there, she's always responded with a, well, why are you so surprised? The belief in this team is absolutely strong, and we need to keep watching them. It is only a matter of when, not if. And I mean, this could be pretty good in terms of the scoreboard. I mean, let's take a little bit of a look at how the scores could be affected if the boats stay in their current position that we're seeing at the moment on the leg. This is what the overall scoreboard is going to look. This is not the official scores right now. This is just our little prediction. Mafre will stay on top, even though they're not having a lot of fun out in the water at the moment. But watch this. Team Sunhunkai Scallywag up into 3rd place. Team Brunel in 4th. Vestas 11th Hour Racing, they're going to slip down into 5th. No real surprise there. Team Axel Nobel and Tur the Tide on Plastic still in 6th and 7th. And they've got a little bit of work to do, but the points do start to close up. So we can see some movement after this leg. Now then, on to a little bit of interesting news. Now, if you were watching any of our social media channels over the last couple of days, you will have spotted a rather fantastic video from Turn the Tide on Plastic. James Blake, the onboard reporter, appears to be able to fly his drone out from off the boat, through into the companionway, past the sleeping sailors, even one that was having a little bit of a personal moment, and then out through the forward hatch and off into the distance. It generated a lot of interesting discussion. Was it real? Was it fake? Well, we actually connected to him via the Cobham satellite system on the back to get his thoughts and try and understand how exactly that video was made.
It's something that I've been thinking about for a while now, and all the OBRs, I guess, have been talking about it. And you know, it was the perfect day to try it. Did take a few attempts to do it, but with the help of the crew as we were racing, we managed to get the shot that I'd been looking for.
Now, you're not explicitly saying it, but there's a big debate here about whether it was a little bit of creativity and trickery on your part, or whether you were indeed that good a drone pilot. Can you give us any hint?
Well, we do spend a lot of time flying these drones on the boats, and we get to know the boats pretty well. So, you know, it's definitely not an impossible shot to get. So we managed to pull it off.
Oh, James, I've got to say congratulations to your efforts, and we look forward to seeing what more you can do.
All right, thank you. Hopefully that didn't give away too much.
Oh, James Blake leaving a little bit of ambiguity there as to how exactly that film was made. Your guess is as good as ours. It's certainly divided opinion in the office. My thanks to Sam Matson for joining me here. The race experts working very hard for your benefit. Subscribe to their Twitter channel if you haven't done so already. I know you've got a lot of work to do today, so we'll let you get back to it. Tomorrow, we've got another quick fix for you in the morning. We've got a daily show at 1300 UTC. We're going to be trying to connect to Dongfeng race team to hear from them at the back and their plans to try and turn that one around. We'll see you tomorrow.